What's going on, everyone? Welcome to q.v.o Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This video is going to be a before you buy Endless Winter. Essentially, it's our format and style of reviews about Endless Winter, things you should know before you buy Endless Winter. It's going to be a review. It's a video series we had going previously, but due to just trying to expand and get things going, we kind of discontinued only because I wasn't playing games enough to really do a solid review. And Endless Winter, I have now played a pretty good amount of times, so I want to do a review for you and let you know my thoughts and feelings about Endless Winter and how I feel about it. So, Endless Winter. If you don't know what Endless Winter is, the game came out on Kickstarter about 3 years ago, 2019, 2018, I believe, somewhere before the pandemic for sure. And the game itself had a lot of buzz because it came out around the same time Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnak came out, and it shared similar elements to those games, so they were all being compared endlessly. The game finally came into retail. It came out to retail last year, and now it is here and able to be purchased at different retail stores and also online. The game itself is played similarly to those two games that I mentioned, Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnak, when you have a little bit of worker placement, a little bit of deck building. And I say a little bit because in Endless Winter, I think that's a little bit. In those other two games, there's a lot of deck building, a lot of worker placement going on. Here, definitely, there's a lot of worker placement going on. It's kind of like the bread of your game, how you're going to be collecting resources to do different actions or completing different mini-games or activities throughout the game to try to gain points and score. In Endless Winter, the way you win, essentially, is by getting the most points. And you do so by using a different sets of cards. For example, here you have your board. It's pretty big. It's a big table hog. I actually could not fit it all on my table, so there's supposed to be another row of cards here at the bottom that are supposed to be like the second row of these cards here at the bottom here. However, it's the same exact cards to show you the layout and explain to you a little bit about the game, how it plays. So, you're going to have your player board here, which tracks your food resource and your tools here, as well as your little camps that you're going to be putting down to make room for more food storage. These camps eventually end up going onto this area control board, and this area control board here, you're going to be moving these to different spots with different actions, and we'll kind of get there as we go over the game a little more over here what's going on. Yeah, this is a game, this is a game, this is a game, and this is a game within the game while you're still playing your deck placement, your worker placement and deck building game, right? So up top here, you're going to have your workers, looks kind of like this right here. This is going to be just a big chief worker, and these are going to be little different workers. The chief worker essentially gets you a little bit of a bonus when you go to a specific spot, depending on where you go of your location. And these are going to be workers that go onto these worker placement spots. So for example, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different spots with different actions that grant you different abilities to do within the game itself. You're going to go down here, right? You're going to start off top here, boom. You're going to start with the top action. This is going to give you a tool, and you're going to pay a tool and it's kind of like a labor card. You're going to pay a tool and a labor, and you're going to be able to gather a card from top here. So the thing about this game here, it has a lot of iconography. There's a lot of icons, and it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. But let's keep going here, and we're going to go down. You do this here. You can do this as many times as you want. Then you can do this action here, which is going to be pay a food to bury a card and also be able to move one of your little huts here over to the area control board, right? So when you don't just move it, of course, but first you have to have 3 of these like so, which then you build, boom, move these out of the way to have your hut there, right? It's a really good way. This game itself is interesting, and I'll explain that when we get there. So you do the whole action too. If you're the first one, you also get to go here. And this basically just gives you a little extra bonus, right? You get a little bit of a bonus to do extra things. And that is going to be that action. These actions do different things. Up here, you're going to have these tablets here that you're going to be able to put down on your board. And when you put them down on your board, you're going to be reaping those points from those conditions. So for example, some of these are every time you put every time there's a different phase, you're going to be able to gain points from having your huts here on glaciers. Going down the road, there's going to be season 2, right? So it's going to be round 1, eclipse, round 2, eclipse, next season essentially. So the 2 there is going to bring out different culture cards. I didn't put all the culture cards down. Like I said, it just did not have enough room. However, there's going to be cards right here like this. 2s, 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 And these cards are going to be just better cards, I would say. And they do different things and varying things as well. All the cards have really good art. So the thing about the art, it's nice. Just the iconography itself is kind of overwhelming a little bit. There's a lot of icons to keep track of, and some of them don't really make too much sense. To continue on, the thing here is going to be the scoreboard, and right here is going to be the turn order track during the eclipse phase. The person who had the most labor during the eclipse phase is going to be the ones who go first or second. During the eclipse phase, you're going to have cards that you use from your deck building that you decided, hey, I'm not going to use these cards for this benefit. I'm going to save for my eclipse phase to use it for this benefit. Then you play them out up top. If I had the room, I would show you, but you play them out up top here, and you're going to play them out. Whoever has the most labor gets to go first, second, or third, and you also reap the benefit. A monolith, you're going to be able to put a monolith there, which is going to be these little pieces here. And I will start now going over the mini games after the eclipse phase, right? So let's go over that first, the monoliths. Up top left here. When you put your monolith down, you're going to be able to make not patterns, you're going to be able to make a line or a connection here, right? So when I put that there, I gain the benefit of a tool. So I move my tool track up here, boom, boom, and then you're going to be able to keep on going. You have to go from left to right. You can't just go all the way to the top, but you're going to do that, you're going to do this here. And then once you start kind of putting like them in order like this or covering other players, you get points and benefits from being able to do that and being able to play that puzzle down, right? Put this contraption down here of stacking monoliths. That's going to be this game. You get benefits a lot. You can gain an animal, which is coming over here. You can also gain food. You can bury a card. So that's going to be what's going on there. So the animals kind of like a little bit of set collection here, right? Set collecting. And you're going to have different animals you can collect. This is considered a wild. You have this one here, the griffin, I believe, and the saber-tooth cat. These cards at the bottom show you how many of each you can get and how many of the cards are available in this stack of cards. I moved a little, there's actually a lot more animals. I just moved the top half just for the sake of lighting. However, you're going to be able to make sets, or you can use the animals for their benefit. You can tap the card, right, or exhaust the card, and you'll be able to gain 2 tools and 2 food. You can do either or. It's a game within itself as well to be set collecting certain things and to be able to move up and benefit from that stuff. Coming over here, we have a little bit of area control. The reason why this is kind of important is because during the eclipse phase, you get to kind of reap some of these rewards here. So if I were to have full control or influence over these 2 sections here, since I have the most TPs on them, these are going to get me a point and 2 sets of food. However, if I have these are actually worth more, and I would have more influence over this whole section here unless someone else has more than I do, right? A monolith and 2 tools during the eclipse phase. And you have 3 to put down, not to say that you'll get them for sure. Like I said, you're fighting for the control of these certain areas to be able to gather stuff. These blue ones here are just glaciers. Putting this back here. And the last game here that is kind of to the side is going to be this one. You're going to be racing up this track and to be able to get more points. So, right, you go up this track, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 all spot by spot. This one's going to be moving up this way. So, in this one here, you're going to be using that to gain points from the cards you bury. You bury cards. Essentially, the theme is going to be that people pass away, and it's your ancestors, and you're burying them. The higher this is, the more points you get for those that you have buried. Going up this here is going to be for all the leftover resources you have. So if I have maxed out on this, right, and I've used up all my TPs, they've all been put out, they're still out, this is going to give you more points at the end for more resources you have available. Then, of course, your deck building, right? So this is going to be where you're going to be gathering deck builders. These are more standard cards for each section, and these are going to be varying and changing every time we end up grabbing different ones. After we reach Season 2 on the round, boom, we switch over to that, and we start placing Season 2 cards. Boom, 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 all here. There's supposed to be 2 rows, like I said, 2 rows, but I just did not have enough space. The game can be a really big table hog. And this is going to be going on, and you're going to be trying your best to manage your resources in your hand and try to get the most points, right? So the most points is going to win you the game. I have never made it around to 100 points, but you can actually go up to 100, right? Past 100, I have not done that. I have never made it past like even 75, I believe, from the times I played. So if you are getting past 100, kudos, because I have no clue how you're doing that. Whatever puzzle you solved for doing that, that's great. The game itself, what I think people may or may not like. Well, I like about, yeah, people may not like about the game. Specifically, actually, things that I don't like about the game. I do not like the fact that there's so many mechanics going on and so many things to worry about. I hear this a lot, and I hate to compare it, but people say that it's fluid, and I don't think it's fluid. It doesn't feel like what I'm doing really affects anything else sometimes. So whenever I'm playing the game, and I feel like I play a card, I feel like I'm so limited to when I do my action with the cards, right? I get my benefit from the card, plus go onto a space, and even then I'm racing people to get to certain spaces, and I don't feel that benefit from doing that, right? I don't feel the tension. I don't feel like I have to get there first in any way, shape, or form. It just feels really blah and lacks that it lacks that feeling of like that feeling of not empowerment. There's a word I'm looking for. I lacks that feeling of feeling like good that I did that action. Wow, like that feels great. I did so much with that. I feel like that's missing for me when I'm playing this game, and I'm focusing on so much that I can't really stop to appreciate one or more things. People compare this game a lot to Lost Ruins or Dune Imperium, but those games are more focused. There's no comparison there to be made. The games are Dune Imperium specifically has a lot of tension, I feel. But the tension itself is good because the game feels like I have to do these things. I have to get to this spot to do X thing. And I don't really feel that here. The benefits you get from coming to the first spots from these sections here, big deal, I feel like going first there. I just don't really see the benefit from that. So I don't feel that tension. There's not really much player interaction, I guess, which is what Dune Imperium has a lot of. Lost Ruins of Arnak as well, like you have to race someone to a spot. Or in Dune Imperium, you have to get troops onto the board to start fighting. That's kind of the thing that I don't see really too much. I really don't agree with that. The game has a lot going on. I think an over-exaggerated amount going on, and plus they give you like extra modules of games, like extra modules to add to this. I cannot imagine adding more to this game. I maybe just because I haven't figured out the puzzle, but even then, I just cannot imagine adding 3, 4 more expansions. It's almost like this thing suffered Kickstarter syndrome. The game suffered Kickstarter syndrome where like they threw in a bunch of things and they're like, well, let's cut this out and let's include that in the stretch goals and let's include that in like the extra expansion stuff. Not to say Fantasia didn't do a good job. The game looks great. I mean, it looks great. The game itself, the components, the organization, the storage, it all is extremely well done. The components look beautiful. The art looks great. I love the art so much. And I mean, can expect any less from the designer, I guess, the artist of the game, the illustrator. So it honestly looks like a great game. A little bit of a table hog and it has a lot going on, but the design of the game, the art of the game looks great. I love the art. I love the pictures. It looks amazing. Something else that I kind of feel a little bit off about would be the way that the game does actions. I feel like it's just too tight, like to the point where I feel like I'm not in control to a certain extent or a degree, right? The game itself takes a long time only because there is a lot of AP, analysis paralysis. People say there's not, there is. There is a lot of analysis paralysis. I'm always overthinking and trying to find out what to do next, along with other players around me who are experienced Euro gamers. I mean, they're like, I played with different groups, and some of these people, I mean, they're pretty good at games, and like they don't really have too much AP, only because we played so many games that we just kind of like, okay, we have a general idea of like get the feel, get the puzzle, get it going, right? And we had AP. Like the game itself has so much to think about, and I feel like the iconography doesn't really help with all that. If maybe that was done a little bit differently, I feel the game itself could have benefited from like better iconography or even like a reference for every player for like all the icons. That being said, things I enjoy about the game, right? So the things that I enjoy was the fact that I feel like there's just too much going on, and it doesn't really feel like it flows. There's a flow to the game where like this goes here to go here to go here to do this to do this. I feel like I'm always stopping and thinking, and it just ruins that ride for me. The next things that I like the art. I mentioned that earlier. I also really enjoy the fact that the game itself is really well done, right? It's well done as in the sense of they made it. It's a big game. It's a heavy game to bring out every time, but it's easy to bring out. You know, it's not just a big box of like components. They really did their time to organize everything. The game is easy to set up. I will admit that. You do have a little bit of like it takes a little bit, but it's easy. You hit the board, boom, 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 set up your cards, bring it out of the module, the storage, and the storage is well done. That is excellent. That is what we need with heavy games and big games. How do you play a heavy game 10 times when it's just so hard to pull out? I get a little bit lazy sometimes to set up a game. Even when I have to set up a game for video, it kind of like drags, right? It doesn't feel like that with this. This definitely feels like it can be brought out pretty seamlessly and brought out. The storage is done really well. The design is done really well. The game itself is really well stored and puts up right. I do also enjoy the player boards here that are done really well. Modular, like little slotted boards and such. Everything's on here. It lets you know where this goes, where that goes, where everything else goes down here. And when you have the space to play the game, it looks pretty neat. Like you have your cards here with the art here, the design of your like animal, your set collection here, your buried cards here. It looks good. The art itself, they took a lot of time to add to the production of this game, and I think that is great. That was really well done. The game looks great. It looks great. For me personally, it doesn't play great. That is my biggest complaint, is the fact that there's so much going on. I don't like that. And the fact that they added more modules to the game, like more expansions, that's a lot. It's very overwhelming for me, honestly. And like I said, I played different games before. I mean, I've played a lot of a lot of heavy Euro games, right? And I just feel like those games just flow better, right? I have like a set plan of attack and a strategy going on. I feel like here I'm just limited, right? Juggling from like the first phase from the original phase to the eclipse phase, trying to find out what to do in the eclipse phase, to do X, to do this, it just seems overwhelming, along with managing your player track, right? I feel like if the game was downsized one or two things and focused more on some of the, and like making more effort on making my actions meaningful, I would have enjoyed it more. Nonetheless, I believe the game is right for you if you are looking for something that it's going to take you a while. It's going to take you a while to study and learn and play, right? The game honestly takes a lot of mastering. It probably takes a lot of time to master. Could be my issue. I maybe just have not mastered the game or gotten close to it to understand the purpose. Maybe that could be an issue. Maybe not. The game itself, it's going to be a great one for you if you want to master a game, right? It's going to take you a while, a couple plays to like fully understand and master everything that's going on here. Like I said, it looks like a beautiful game. Look at it now right in front of me. It looks gorgeous, right? All the art, all the way it's placed out. It just looks like a gorgeous game. Table hog, nonetheless, but it looks gorgeous. If you're looking for a game that you're trying to master, Endless Winter's for you. If you're looking for a game that you love when different mechanics are mashed up into one game, and that is going to be something you enjoy. A lot of people really enjoyed this game. Not to say it's not a bad game, it's just probably not for me. And the game itself, like I said, it's really well renowned. Everyone loves it. It's on their top 10 list. Everyone enjoys it, and that is awesome. The game, nonetheless, was just not for me, and I feel like the game needed to be shrunken down and not include so many modules and expansions that I don't think I'll ever really touch. I feel like if that added to the cost of my game, which when I purchased this game, I would have liked more a concise game with less things to do. That is my review of Endless Winter. If you find this helpful, you enjoy this review, please let me know in the comments below. Any feedback would be great and helpful. It helps us develop the channel, helps us grow, and cater this more to you, the audience. Also, please subscribe or like the video. It helps the channel grow and get more word out there, and that'll be really helpful. Thank you for watching the video, and if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good one.